All right, so welcome back to another episode of Finding Your Way with Lori and Tonya. We are super excited you're here. So listen, if you're a first-time listener of ours, welcome. You have found us. We wholeheartedly believe you found us for a reason, and that this message, or maybe one of our messages in one of our other posts are meant for you, one of our other episodes. And then if you're not a first time, we welcome you back. We are so glad you're here. We hope that whatever we're sharing on these podcasts really, give you some food for thought and maybe help you change direction in your lives like we did. So we're super excited about being here today.
We've been having this conversation about competition, and is there really such a thing as competition? And when you're a child, sometimes really, really young children don't seem to compete with anybody. They're sort of in their own little world, and they, it's all about them, and they don't really even notice others. But then as they get older, that's when that ego starts coming in. It's like, I want that toy, I want that thing. And I think we continue to do that until we catch ourselves. And so as Tonya and I have grown and done a lot of the inner work to really get to how to be the best versions of ourselves that we can be, some of those things come up. So it's like dealing with those feelings of not being worthy or being inadequate, not being enough, that kind of thing. And so once you do the work and start healing some of that, it does get to this place where you don't really look at others as your competition anymore. You really look at them as, oh my gosh, like if I can recognize what they're doing and seeing how they're succeeding, or seeing that they've got something that really looks desirable to me, all that means is that it's possible for me too. That's why I'm seeing it, right?
That's exactly right. And I think that, it used to be I would look at someone else's happiness or their joy or their amazing relationship or the new car they bought. And I don't necessarily say I would covet it, but I would be like, well, how did she get that? Or how did they get, or gosh, look at that relationship. Like I want that. And now I think that I'll look at those things and I go, golly, good for you. Like, yes. Dang, girl, you are killing it. Or that's an awesome new car. Like, and then for me, I think internally, I kind of go, gosh, she can have that. I can have that too. Like, good for her. And I think that that's the difference in our mindset now. I get so excited about clapping and celebrating for other people because I think it brings me closer to what I want and my desires and what God has in store for me and what the universe is bringing my way. And so I think that as we get a little bit older and do this inside work, you don't have to be our age to get this. I think it makes a huge difference. And I will tell you that when I see somebody now, even on Facebook, we know Facebook's not or Instagram or whatever isn't necessarily everybody's true life, but even seeing someone's great family, happy, some trip they've taken, and I go, wow, good for them. Like, and then I can say, well, I'd love to go XYZ. And it makes it feel more doable to me.
Yeah, but it's not always been like that. I'd say for me anyway, there have been moments in my life where I'm almost jealous of others for whatever they had, or how, like, the kind of relationships they had, or, things and people and relationships and situations, like all the things. And that was a big part of my growth. That's almost how I could tell that I was growing, right? Because it faded a little bit. All that faded to the point where just the perspective changed. And it wasn't like, oh my gosh, look at that beach house, or look at that lake house that maybe I would have been a little bit jealous of in the past. Like, oh, that. Now it's like, oh, that's wonderful. Like, if I'm seeing it and it's on my radar, then I must be able to, I have it within me to get there also. Like, good for them. And if I can see it, so nothing comes into our consciousness that's not possible for us.
That's right.
So if we're seeing things, good or bad, unfortunately, that means that it's possible for us too. And so I heard this girl talking about somebody that had gotten in really good shape, and she found herself going, oh, gosh, she looks better than I do, but the girl had worked really hard for it. She had changed her diet and started exercising and lifting weights, and she looked really good, and she had earned that, right? And the girl that was telling the story was like, I had to stop myself and change my mindset to say, wait a minute, she did what she needs to do. I'm not doing what I need to do. And if I'm able to see her thrive, all that means is that it's possible for me too. So if she can have it, I can have it too. So it's just like flipping that switch just a little bit, instead of, like you said, coveting or being jealous of, or, almost wanting bad for others to make yourself feel better, which is an awful thing to think, but we're human. And sometimes we do think that way.
Well, and it goes over, like, so my career world. So those of you who may have heard this before, I'm a recruiter. I'm an executive recruiter, and I've been in the recruiting industry for almost 25 years. Can't believe I'm saying that out loud. And I remember back in the day, 10 years ago, even probably 8 years ago, it can be a cutthroat industry. Staffing, recruiting, all those things. A company comes to you and gives you a job that they want you to fill, and sometimes they give it to 3 or 4 other people, 3 or 4 other companies, recruiters, and so you always feel like you're competing against other people. Or you've got a client that is your client, and if they cheat on you and they go out and use somebody else, you feel like you've lost, right? I mean, these other people are your competition. And even within my office, we ran, our offices back in my last 2 companies prior to this one, like it was on our own business. So there was a lot of competition in the same office for clients and jobs and people. And so I think that, and listen, that's how I fed my family, right? So there come a time that when I had this shift, when I started doing this work, I can now, even today, like I thought about it. This is part of the reason we have this conversation today, is I thought about it today. I've got a client, and, the job's hard. It's a hard job to fill. And I thought should tell them that maybe they need to get one more of their recruiter on board in case they can find somebody too. And I thought, God, girl, how far have you come? Like, that would have never crossed my mind to do. Now my end goal is to make sure that my client gets the best candidate, that the right candidate gets the job, and that it's for the greater good of all involved, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, that really is my outlook on every job I take and I try to fill, and every candidate I talk to. And so it was nothing for me today to think, well, maybe they do need to grab another recruiter and bring them in. That way they can, it's an ASAP job. They need this person immediately. I might not can find it. I would never have said that before. And so I look at things like when I lose a job to another company or another recruiter, I go, well, you know what meant to be, it's okay. Like, whoever they found for this job, the universe or God it was their turn, and it's okay. And I just don't look at it like competition anymore. And it is a great place to be. Because you can't control it anyway. So why be mad and upset and frustrated and feeling that stress and struggle of having to hustle when you know in my heart of hearts, if it's meant to be, it'll be, and just let it go. And it has made all the difference in my life.
Yeah. And so it really is a mindset shift to really thinking about, if it's meant for you, it will not pass you by. It might not happen in your time, but it will happen. And if it doesn't happen for you, if you don't achieve something, it wasn't the right timing, or it wasn't for you, or maybe it wasn't for the greatest good of everybody involved. And so it really isn't a competition with anybody else. Like, there's no competition. What's meant for you will find you. And it's all about becoming a better version of you each day, right? It's being a better me each day. I'm really my only competition, and it's not really competition, because it's just growth, and growth goes forwards and backwards and sideways and all over. And it's all unfolding like it's supposed to, but it takes a while to get to that place where you truly believe that, because I wasn't raised to believe that, that's not what I was raised to believe. It was, you work hard and there's a structure to everything and there's rules that you have to follow. And as I've gotten older, I've really come to believe more of what's meant for me will find me. And I do have to take action and do the things that I know that I should do. But it really, if it's for me, it will be mine,
Absolutely.
whatever that is, a relationship, material gain, whatever it is. Yeah.
Well, and we also believe celebrating others and other people's successes. And the more you can wholeheartedly celebrate, not golf clap, but wholeheartedly celebrate somebody else's win, the more you're putting out to God or to the universe that you want that too, or that the excitement and the energy behind the wholehearted celebration draws that kind of celebration to you, and next time maybe it'll be for you. So we get super excited for our friends and our family and loved ones and complete strangers sometimes when there's something positive and happy and something for somebody else that they have accomplished or won or dreamed big and got. I get so excited for people, and it makes a difference.
And I don't get emotional about sad stuff usually, but I get really emotional about that kind of stuff. Like when somebody achieves something they really worked hard to achieve, or somebody benefits from the kindness of others and they're so grateful. Like those are the kind of things that just choke me up. And it is that just outpouring of celebration for others winning, right? It's good for you and well deserved. And I'm so glad to see that you are thriving, because it does raise your vibration, makes you feel better. It's such a different feeling and vibration than that feeling of jealousy and competition. And so I'm so glad that we have been able to shift to that, because it just feels so much better. It really does.
And so listen, what we're leaving you with is we were there, right? We coveted, we wanted, there were times when I thought, gosh, I hope you fall on your face, and seriously. And so I think that from there to here was been a journey, but we can once again say that turning that corner and making that shift in how you look at things and how you celebrate for others and understand that what's meant for you will be, and there's no competition. We promise you that if you start practicing that, everything will shift. All these little things will come into play.